This is the first time I'm doing it this way through the new setup we have. So I will say this now, and I'll say it at the beginning of the meeting, because the public has limited ability to attend the meeting tonight. If there are any questions that arise from this meeting, or anything anyone feels needs further discussion, please email myself or any member of this committee or council for that matter, so people have at least the questions can be addressed by the council before the action becomes final. I think that's probably a good way for every alderman to deal with any issues that anyone might have or questions anyone might have. We'll just go around and introduce ourselves since I got some people on the screen here, and we'll start within the room. Alderperson Coth, Chairman, Property and Finance Committee.
Shane Blazer, member.
Jake Catton, another person. Oh.
Go ahead, Jake.
Tim Sorcy, Finance Director.
Paul Mahler, Public Works Superintendent.
Tom Realm, Alderman.
Zach Rulick, Mayor.
Rochelle, City Attorney.
Christy, can you hear us?
They're muted, and I got some folks muted.
Okay. We'll go into the first item here, which is item number 2. Consider a special events application request from the Wood County Health Department for a downtown farmers market to be held on Thursdays and Saturdays from June 4th to October 31st, 2020. First Avenue South from West Grand Avenue to Goggins Streets, 2 enclosed street closures. I'll go to Zach on that. I know we had a teleconference call on that about a week ago.
Yeah, we did. As I understood, there were some outstanding questions pertaining to location and alternatives from when the group had previously brought the item to the Finance Property Committee meeting. We held a call with city staff to understand what some of those concerns were and to hear what alternatives might exist to relocate the market. I know given the confluence of activities downtown last year was probably the most, the least ideal year because the Lunch by the River had to move across the river. It's my understanding that that's moving back this summer. And then certainly with other construction projects, a lot of surface parking lots had been consumed. So there seemed to be quite a few constraints. There's also, with the city taking back the former Tribune parking lot, the city's former parking lot under ownership again, there was a question of whether or not that can be utilized. So we talked through a number of these things, and I'll conclude there. Just wanted to offer that perspective that there was some consideration given by staff and discussing alternatives. And I know it's probably beyond crunch time, so folks at the health department have probably more to say as it relates to their planning process and what they think is feasible at this stage.
Zach, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Is there permit parking still along the street on First Avenue there? And will that be a problem with people that have permits? I can't remember what happened before.
Yeah, there are permits there. It's mixed, both permits and public parking. I think we only split it 50-50, if I'm not mistaken. A number of the permit holders are health department employees. The others are Riverblock employees. And the market can tell us, I believe they got a $10, basically the value of the permit over the course of the year, and they all got a $10 gift certificate from the chamber for the fact that they couldn't utilize those spaces on would have been probably 12 weeks maybe, or 12 Thursdays, I should say. But the idea I think that was discussed was potentially shifting it further south to enable that street to be utilized for parking. The trouble is availability of power, and I think Paul addressed that there's 2 power festoons in the vicinity there to be able to occupy that area for the sake of the market, but I'm not certain exactly if that lines up with that.
Sounds good, thanks.
Jake, you have anything?
Yeah, a couple questions here. So the health department is the one putting the show on here. What is their preference? Where would they like to have it? And if they would like to speak to that, I'd to hear what they have to say.
Can you hear us now? We called in.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. And I really appreciate having the time to let you know what our preference is right now, especially during what is unprecedented time in at least my 12 years at the department with the COVID-19 pandemic we're dealing with. We are currently the managers of the market, however, don't anticipate that we will do that forever. And so at this time, we were open to the potential of having to move the market earlier in the year had we had enough capacity and time to do so. But currently, we're struggling with believing we would actually be able to have a market if we have to move it. And so our preference would be that it stays on First Avenue and that it's in the same location where it was last year.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I to speak to that just a little bit more, there's a number of things that we're not able to do, guidelines and guidance that are coming down from the Department of Health Services in regards to farmers markets, as well as meetings with our vendors. We won't be able to have, we typically have educational meetings and meetings to launch the market where they fill out their registration. We have who helps with our translation with our Hmong vendors, and all of that will have to be done in an individual one-on-one basis. And we still have to go through now. Kyle had let us know a new permitting process, part of the new planning code, I believe it is. And so, and just with all of our non-essential activities essentially being shut down currently, we realize that it's going to take a lot of effort for us to be able to open the market. And we do realize that this is a huge, this will be a huge strain on our vendors, as many of them rely on the food sales that they make through the summer.
Thank you for the input. So with that said, I would hate to put any more strain on these vendors, health department putting it on. I do think this is a necessity in the community as much as it is for the vendors, as it is to the residents as well. People are out grocery shopping. I don't feel this is any different. And if we've had it there previously, I feel like we have the capabilities to obviously do it again. So I would be in favor of moving forward with the permit for the previous location, which was First Street.
Is that a motion, Jake?
I'll make a motion to approve the permit for the farmer's market.
All right, we have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion? Tom, did you have anything you wanted to?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, well, I brought it up at the meeting a couple months ago or whenever that was, that this was on the agenda before, and I asked if a different location could be looked at where we wouldn't have to close the streets and that type of stuff, and suggested possibly, one of the parks. And I did mention Robinson Park at that point in time, as there is plenty of parking there. There is on-street parking too, but there are parking lots. There are restroom facilities and that are there. That it just crossed my mind that might be a more conducive place to have this. And obviously, as of now, I think it's going to be in limbo if we'd be able to do it anyway, depending what the guidelines, if they're somewhat lifted or not, for the social distancing and that to take place, wherever it be at. But that'd be one. The other question, thought that comes to mind is, I believe Alderperson Kellogg had a referral in on some of these events that take place downtown, and that how it's paid for or not paid for. These are all costs that are required, all involve some city costs to some degree, and I'm not saying a lot, but they all involve some city costs. close streets, and that type of stuff. But with that, and I'm not sure how we do it, but I do believe that the city provides the refuse containers and that for the event, and that we pick that up too. So there is a somewhat of a cost associated to the city to provide this to the vendors, but also to the community, to the people that want to go there and partake in the event. So my thoughts a couple months ago was just if there was a different place to, if they would consider to look at a different place to have it. And I, at that point in time, as I said before, I threw out the name of Robinson Park. That's all. Steve.
Is there any other further discussion on this item?
I just add one more thing. I stand by my motion, but to the ladies at the health department, those who would be in charge there, Tom brought up something that I should have asked before, but under these guidelines, the farmers market would practice social distancing as grocery stores and others are, I assume, and you would go over that with the vendors just for the public's knowledge.
Yeah, that's a great question. Farmers markets have been deemed essential, and there is a 2-page guideline guidance document that's been provided to all markets in the state. But we would be practicing all of that guidance, which would change the way the market is laid out. For sure, the physical distancing guidelines, but also vendors would be spread further apart as well, and we would have the vendors. There wouldn't be a walkway down the middle of the market. It would be on the edges of the market as to keep people separated, as well as some food restrictions as far as prepared food and how that needs to be handled, which we would work closely with our registered sanitarians on all of those guidelines as well.
Thank you.
Chrissy, I just had a couple other questions because one of the issues that was brought up, and I know I talked to you about, has been the parking around the Centralia Center. When you're getting set up, I mean, because we do have the parking at the Tribune building now, that would be on the closer to the First Avenue. I assume that you guys would be encouraging the patrons of the farmers market to use that parking lot as opposed to the Centralia Center parking lot.
That is correct, and we can encourage. We would encourage, roadside parking as well. Whatever the city would prefer us to market, we would be putting out as in the maps that we put out for the public to know as far as where the market's located, where to park, and how to access things.
Okay, and then you mentioned that the health department earlier. You mentioned the health department's probably not going to be involved with the farmers market forever. And kind of to Alderman Rayelm's point, I mean, are you guys planning on being downtown permanently, or are you guys kicking the tires and looking at maybe another place for the farmers market in the future where it would still be accessible to everybody, but not necessarily right by the Centralia Center?
That's a great question. So I probably should have prefaced my statement with my earlier statement with, as far as our leadership and management, we have a farmers market committee that we've convened, and over the last few years we've been working on determining ultimately a long-term placement location for the market. We were heavily involved with the Market Square idea and the straightening of the road, in 2019. Very much advocates for that, and knowing that we want to find a better location for our vendors to vend, but also a place where people can come to the market and enjoy the market as far as seating and other things. We will, as a health department, we are committed to being part of leadership. We just know that ideally it'd be best if the market was a 501(c), or if there was additional support from other entities to manage this. We are happy to do so, and last year we were able to get debit and credit as well as electronic benefits, which is the food share cards accepted at the market, which we know increased dollars by over 5,000 in just one year of doing that. And so we feel strongly that we can provide a lot of guidance and leadership and support, and we know that we're making a difference in these vendors' lives, but we realize it can't be us alone, and that is why we really we feel like it isn't best to sit with us forever and that it really needs a committee and a likely a paid management position, however that comes down the road. And, you know, we're committed to make sure that this doesn't go away anytime in the near future. I know our health officer, my supervisor, is aware that this is falling under the community health arm of our work right now. That's the team that I supervise, and she by no means would want it to fail. And so we are committed. We just know that it needs to grow beyond just us.
All right. Does anyone have any other further questions or discussion items? All right, we had a motion and a second on the floor to approve the farmer's market. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. And that'll take us on to our next item. Thank you, Christy, for being here with us this evening to answer questions on the farmer's market.
Thank you, and we appreciate the calling of the special meeting too, and I know you guys have some other things to address, so very much appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, items 3 through 7 are all requests from the Department of Public Works. We'll take each one at a time here, but item number 3 is consider a request from the Public Works Department to purchase a TAG equipment trailer. Paul?
Yep. Thank you. So in your packet, you have the information that's attached. Currently, we're using a trailer that was purchased back in 1993. It works well for moving things around in town because obviously you don't get up to higher speeds with it at all. We did look at trying to modify the trailer because what it is a dump trailer tilt bed trailer. And we did look at trying to move the axles back because what happens is once you get over 50 miles an hour, it provides a lot of tail whip. And it just, it's not safe to go down the roads at high speed. So currently what we've been doing the last probably 2 or 3 years is borrowing Wood County highways whenever we need to go and get a piece of equipment or material. And of course, obviously, they own the trailer because they have a need for it themselves. And so sometimes we've been in a situation where we couldn't go get a piece of equipment. So then we're hiring someone to bring it back for us. And so then you're at the mercy of a separate company because most of the time they won't go and get it without picking up another load someplace else. They try to become as efficient as possible and make money on both runs. And so this has been kind of on our radar for a few years to look at doing. And last year, I didn't think that it fit very well. This year, we have a little bit more in our equipment replacement fund due to the amount of use that we had last year with the storm damage and things like that. We had more equipment use than we normally do. And so, there is value in the trailer that we still have. So obviously there's a purchase price of something new, but we'll probably be able to get anywhere from 25 to 50% of what the new price is out of our trailer that's, 17 years old. So I did go and request proposals from 2 separate companies that are, Aaron Equipment we do a lot of business with. They're out of Green Bay. And then also with Roland Equipment out of Schofield or Wausau. As you could see in your stuff, the trailer from Wausau is $2,300 more than the trailer from Green Bay. But it is a heavier trailer, and we feel that it's a little bit better built trailer. And the additional 5,000 pounds would serve us in certain situations if we needed to. So.
Does anyone have any questions for Paul? Jake? Tom?
Nope.
Zach or Tim?
Just maybe Tim could identify the funding source. It should be coming from the Public Works fleet replacement account, but it might be helpful to just restate that for the viewing public.
All right, sorry, I had to unmute myself here. Yes, this would come out of the equipment replacement fund. Just as a refresher, we calculate rental rates for the equipment that's charged to the various operating budgets. That includes the depreciation for the replacement of equipment. That depreciation that's recaptured through the budget on an annual basis is put in a fund to replace and purchase equipment such as this.
Well, the funding sources identified, Paul's working with a trailer that's 27 years old and not really feasible working with for the city. On the two that he's got outlined here, one has a capacity of an additional 2.5 tons for $2,878 more. I would make a recommendation to purchase the trailer from Roland Equipment from Schofield for a price not to exceed $27,878.
I'll second that.
We have a motion-
Steve, sorry, I did call him to verify, and that price that is on there is still good too. Because I did have this from back in February or whatever, so that price is correct.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Next item here that we have is consider a request from the Public Works Department to purchase a portable hot water pressure washer.
Okay, so what this is currently within our facility, we only have one pressure washer and one wash bay. Actually, two wash bays, I guess is the best way to say it. There's one inside and there's one outside. And we originally looked at, because we all know that we spent over $500,000 last year on purchasing new garbage trucks and recycling truck and just other pieces in our fleet. And so I've challenged our staff so that we can maintain that and keep it looking good and everything like that. The garbage trucks have to be washed twice a week, and the pickup trucks we're trying to do at least once a week. Well, now all of a sudden we're taking a 20-plus vehicle fleet and trying to maintain them to the best that we can. We're running out of space and fighting over hoses and things like that. We also obviously are hopefully going to open the aquatics facility this spring. So with the old swimming pool and the splash pad, we used to pressure wash the deck of those areas. And with the new aquatics facility, we are probably increasing the deck by 4 times as what we used to do before. And so we looked at our existing steam cleaner that we have in the building and tried to retrofit it so that we could hook another gun up to it, and spoke with the vendor, and they said that's just not doable. We wouldn't be happy with the solution with it and everything like that. And so the solution that we came up with is something that's very similar to what we have in the building. It's just that it is an oil-fired unit that is portable, and then obviously we could spend another $5,000 and purchase a gas-powered one, but then it would not be very feasible to use it within the building. So what we're recommending is purchasing an electric one, and then we would simply pull the generator behind us or have a generator along with us, or at the aquatics facility, we're looking at putting an outlet on the outside of the building so that we could take this unit up to the aquatics facility. We could take it to the splash pad. We could take it out to our construction facility or construction job sites. We actually rented one of these three or 4 years ago when we had a very cold winter and our sanitary services were freezing. And we were jetting the sanitary services with this, a similar unit. And so it's got lots of additional uses that we'll be able to use it as. I think it just makes sense to have something like this on hand so that, number one, we have 4 times the space at the aquatics facility that we did at the pool. So we're going to need another sort of pressure washer of some sort anyways. So why not get something that we can have multiple uses out of it?
No, I've used these pressure washers before and they're very good. And I make a motion to approve the purchase.
I'll second.
I failed to say again, I'm sorry, that this is being funded out of the equipment replacement fund. And I don't know if we can do this or not. I did have a discussion with Ryan Giefer, the wastewater superintendent, and I don't know that if we can act on it here or if he has to bring a separate item. But he is also interested in purchasing one of these for the wastewater treatment plant because they don't have anything over there. So I don't know if we can approve to purchase 2 of them, or if that would have to be a separate item. That's outside my wheelhouse. But I just thought I would bring that up.
At this point in time, Paul, because what I have for me agendaed is for 1, I believe that would violate what I'm allowed to do because it's not publicly noticed to buy 2 of them. So at this point in time, it would only have to be for 1 unit.
Okay, not a problem.
All right, we have motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion or questions for Paul on this item? Hearing no further discussion, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 5 is consider a request from the Public Works Department to purchase a rotary wheel balancer.
All right, so this item here, I'll just go through. Currently, the wheel balancer that we have in our shop is from 1971. We found out with the purchase of the new police cruisers that because of the wheel style, I believe Mark had said that it is when they go to balance the tires, it is now a tape that they use to balance it. And it's not the old style that you simply pound onto the side of the aluminum rim. It actually goes in a very specific location, and obviously our 1971 wheel balancer is not capable of doing that. So he requested for me to look into replacing it because obviously vehicles are going to continue to go to this style, I'm assuming. And the police department, I believe, has 3 2020 cruisers in their fleet right now. And so I believe they currently take them to Matthews Tire to do any sort of balancing work that needs to be done. So if a squad comes in on our second shift, we aren't able to do anything with it. So he looked into it and requested pricing from both our local Napa store and then this Hunter Engineering Company. And, obviously on your referral, you can see that the one company is almost $9,000 more than the other. And so I was concerned by that to make sure that we were comparing apples to apples. And he assured me that we are. And same thing, we verified with him or with the vendor today, and in the referral I have down that it is the one from Napa, which is what our recommendation was $8,831.62. Well, it actually has reduced in price since the original request back in February. And the new price is now $7,699.00. Like I said, Mark assured me that this one will be capable of doing all of the police vehicles, just the regular vehicles from engineering vehicles to the code enforcement vehicles to our 1-ton fleet, and it also balances the vehicles, or I'm sorry, the tires in the ambulance size and our truck size also. This will also be financed out of our equipment replacement fund.
Just a quick question. So being that there's a difference in price, it may be able to perform all those functions, but the first thing that comes to my mind is possibly quality. If we were to get this in the shop or start using it and find out it didn't fit the quality we were looking for, is there any type of return policy on that, where you could get it in for 30 days and use it, or is it just we buy it, then we got it?
On the specifications, there isn't anything that says that, but just looking on the paperwork and the brochure that was given to Mark as far as the paperwork or the brochure or the pamphlet, I'm sorry, that was given with it, it looks to be of a similar design. You know, so I don't think that there's any shortage of it. And, you know, Napa is obviously a big company. We buy all of our parts from there. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. I mean, I do know that the sales rep today said that there was an additional 5% that was given by Napa since the first quarter when we originally asked it or requested it, and instead of him keeping that, he gave it to us or whatever. So I guess I would think that Napa would be willing to stand behind it, but it does not say anything like that in here.
Okay, as long as I was just wondering if all the specifications were the same and we're getting the same quality for the cheaper price. So with that, I'd make a motion to purchase the rotary balancer from Napa Auto Parts for $7,699.
I'll second.
Jake, another thing for Alderperson Catnaw, it does specifically say on the proposal from Napa, the government pricing, and on the other submittal, it does not say any sort of government deduction or whatever. So it could simply be that this Hunter Engineering Company does not provide any government discount, which is kind of standard. Some companies do, some companies don't. So
That's good to hear. Napa's local too, so.
Yep.
All right. We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other questions for Paul on this item? Hearing none, the motion is to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 6 is consider a request from the Public Works Department to purchase a manhole repair tool from Mr. Manhole. Paul?
Would you guys mind taking up number 7 first before 6? Because if we don't approve number 7, it doesn't pay to approve number 6.
I'll call for unanimous consent from the committee to go to item number 7.
Yeah,
Jake?
Yep.
Item number 7 is consider a request from the Public Works Department to purchase a tracked skid steer.
All right. So the last few years, we have been, or not we, but we've been renting a machine to try to come up with ways of being more efficient on our restoration of our construction projects and things like that. And it was one of those things where it would be nice to have type thing, but wasn't really a priority at the time. We had other things that had a higher priority. So this winter, we talked about it some more with staff. We also came up with some other possible uses for it. And so here over the early or late winter months, we started to go to different vendors and demo machines and things like that, comparing it to the machines that we rented, and also just other machines in general. And so over the last 2 or 3 years, I believe we have like 8 or 9 months of rent on the machines. So we paid out probably $12,000 to $15,000 in rent of the machine. And so just to see where we would be at, we requested pricing from these machines that we demoed. We demoed a CAT machine from Favic of Wausau, and then a Bobcat, not the model that I'm showing in the referral to you, because the model is just coming out here this spring, but we demoed the comparable model. And so based on comparing the machines side by side, and things like that, surprisingly the CAT came in less than the Bobcat, and it was actually the machine that our staff preferred anyways. So it kind of made the decision easier. By purchasing the machine instead of leasing it, instead of renting it, we're probably 30% there in owning it on the rent that we've already paid anyways. And so to me, it's not going to be something that we're going to only own for 6 years. It's going to probably be in our fleet for 12 to 15 years. And it's one of those things is as soon as we sent it back, because we were done on a construction project or whatever, it was like, dang, it'd be nice to have that here because we could use it, on whatever. And it's just like any tool, you have to have qualified people in it to get the most out of it. But we feel that we've come up with enough tasks and things like that, and the previous item that I asked to jump over is one of the things, that we feel we're going to be able to get a lot of use out of it with. So it's my recommendation to the committee that we purchase the CAT 259 D3 from Favic for $48,148, which once again, it's going to be financed out of our equipment replacement fund.
Anyone have any questions for Paul on these two machines? Well, I understand what Paul's saying. If you're been close to paying for half a machine and it's something that, a tool that you can use in the fleet, it makes sense to have it. So I'd make a motion to purchase a CAT 259 D3 from Favic of Wausau for an amount not to exceed $48,148. Shane?
I'm going to second it, but I agree. In 2 years, we'll have this paid for itself, and then year 3, lack of a better word, we're making money or not spending money again. So I think it's a good idea.
All right, we have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Now we're going to move back to item number 6, which is consider a request from the Department of Public Works to purchase a manhole repair tool from Mr. Manhole. Paul?
Okay, so I don't know if anyone was able to click on the link in my referral or not, but we all drive around on our streets, and every single time, you drive over and you hit a hole and you think it's a pothole, but it's really our manholes, that settle in time and or because we seal coated or whatever, we have built them up and stuff like that. And so by maintaining our manholes right now, we currently put steel adjusting rings on top of the structures, which allows us to change the height of them and things like that after they settle out. So we spend about $400 or $500 extra on the manholes as it is right now when we do our new construction, and try to get it right. But when they come and pave it, sometimes, it still ends up being low. But the hardest part is maintaining it over time. What this machine does is, for lack of better words, it's a hole saw that you take the cover off of the manhole, and it'll cut a perfect circle around the manhole casting and allow you to adjust it with the asphalt, so that you're at the most you could set it flush, or you could set it to be a ½ inch low, which is probably what we would do, just so that when we plow snow over it, we don't break blades or break the manholes themselves. What you do then is you end up with a, however you set it, you could set it so that you're 6 inches bigger than the manhole casting. You could set it so that you're 12 inches bigger, whatever. But you then fill in that area between the manhole casting and the existing asphalt with concrete. So then you have a solid mass going all the way down to the structure, which should make something that should last for a very, very long time. I was down in La Crosse for a soccer tournament, and I saw this, and I was wondering what the heck it was. And then went to another vendor in in Portage, and they were doing the same thing. And it just so happened that week the city engineer sent the video of this, and apparently it's something that's coming on pretty strong. In the link that was included in the referral, the company that makes this, they are also a company that you can hire to go through and maintain all your manholes for you, and they can complete rebuild rings and castings in less than an hour and have it ready to pour concrete in it. So not only is this going to provide a better ride and a better product for the users of our roadways, but it should also greatly create an efficiency, and we should be able to move some money that we do in manhole repairs into something else, and or do more.
Go ahead, Shane.
Paul, currently, what do you do you saw it out currently, like a square, and have to build from there? Okay.
Yeah, so right now we have a staff member goes and saw, like you said, saw cuts it out. We either go ahead of time with our walk behind saw, or else, one person on the crew cuts it by hand, so then you got two other guys waiting there. Then we remove the asphalt, then we dig down around the casting, because you don't want you got to be able to get down underneath it. So it's a lot of additional labor, where here what happens is you put this apparatus into the casting that keeps it centered around, you're cutting a circle around the circle. Once it takes, I think it said in the information that it takes 15 to 16 minutes to cut it out, depending upon what how deep the asphalt is. And then once it's cut, you literally use the bucket of the skid steer, and you pull the whole casting, the chunk of asphalt, and everything out at once.
I watched the video. It looked very efficient and quick versus the current process.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so a couple of questions here. You mentioned that Mr. Manhole, the company, also provides a service. Once we purchase this, we would be doing the manholes ourselves, or we would be using them as a service with the equipment we're purchasing today?
No, we would be doing it ourselves with the equipment that's purchased. This company is actually out of Ohio, and so they do the work down there or whatever.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And then the other one would be, what is the expected life of this equipment?
So I believe in the literature, it says so it has carbide teeth on it, so it's a wear part. So with the carbide teeth that are on it, you're able, depending upon the amount of asphalt and whether or not you use it on concrete or whatever, but they claim that you're able to cut, I think it said 125 holes. And so right now we normally do 30 manholes a year in our current budget, I believe is what it is. And so obviously 100 of them, that's 2 years, but then the replacement teeth, sorry, I have it here with me. Why estimate when I can just look at it? Right now, I removed it from the request, but they sell a set of teeth for $500.
So there's a heavy cost savings here. sounds
Yeah.
like. Okay, excellent.
Does anyone have any other questions for Paul or questions about this equipment? Hearing none, I'll,
Excuse me, who made the motion second? I
Nobody,
missed it.
we were just getting to that, Tim.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll make a motion to purchase the Mr. Manhole 6-shooter for a total cost not to exceed $27,978.53, with financing coming out of the equipment replacement fund.
I'll second.
Okay, well,
Alderperson Colt, can I correct you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I need to take, with that bottom number, I did not take the teeth off of the bottom number. I'm sorry. So I'll give you the right number. My apologies.
go ahead.
So the actual purchase price is $25,503.53.
Plus freight?
is that the-
Nope, that's including the freight.
Okay,
Okay,
It's better, it's about $2,000 less, so. I'd like to amend my motion to reflect the new purchase price of $25,503.53. Jake, would you still hold your second with that?
yeah, still second.
Okay. We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion on this item? Hearing none, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thanks for answering the questions tonight, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for the items. I appreciate it.
Item number 8 is the beverage operator licenses. I am going to abstain from this vote and let Shane take the lead on it because I have a beverage operator license in there. So,
did you get a chance to look at them, Jake?
I did, yeah. I have no concerns. Really.
We did get something from the clerk that there's 2 of them that have outstanding fines with court. So those 2 probably need to take care of that before they're issued their license. With that, I'm willing to make a motion to approve the licenses as long, and in addition to the ones that have outstanding obligations that they need to take care of, and yours was approved, correct?
yes.
Okay. So that's my motion.
I'll second that.
So, no, you can run them.
Okay. We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion or questions? Hearing none, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? And I will abstain, so it carries with 2 ayes and 1 abstention. Item number 9 is audit of the bills. Tim?
Yes, yeah, you received an attachment and a separate email, I think, from the agenda, the bills for, I do believe they went through the month of March. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Did everyone have a chance to look at those?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I did. I guess I have one question. It just stands out. It's right at the top and it's a large amount. What is the Rapid Realty payment for development incentive?
Yeah, that would be the Metelco
Okay,
development, and according to the development agreement, when they had their footings complete, that according to the agreement, we made that payment.
okay.
And then, just because this is a different format with the munis that you guys got put in, if I'm looking at this right, it's checks numbers 3083 to 3321.
That is correct.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Kim about the bills? On that, I will make a motion to pay the bills with check numbers 3083 to 3321.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, committee will vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 10 is to set our next meeting date. Since we're going to have a council meeting next week, and that is the reorganization of committees meeting, I'm going to decline to put out a new Property and Finance Committee meeting date. As after that time, I may not be chairman of this committee anymore, so if another chairman of this committee is elected, I will leave setting the next Property and Finance Committee meeting date to whoever the chairman of this committee may be after the reorganizational meeting. Do you guys, any thoughts on that, Jake or Shane?
Sounds good.
No, that sounds appropriate.
Okay. So item number 11 is adjournment. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:38 PM.